Rest of the week and into the weekend.
Well, we've got a cold front coming, so we're going to have some rainfall, and then we're going to get a temperature drop behind it. Another little taste of fall on the way. Just hang on a few days.
You sound excited, Jeff.
Well, I am. You know, it's time. It is
Yeah.
time. Still not seeing a crisp morning where we may be down in the 30s and 40s, but that will come with time. Tracking some rain the first half of the week, and right now the payoff looks to be a very nice weekend ahead.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. WAAY 31 gives you 24/7 coverage you can count on, local news, breaking news, and severe weather. You can watch us on all of our platforms. Have a good night.
This is WAAY 31 Law Call.
Good evening and welcome to WAAY 31 Law Call. I'm Sharon Dovia. Tonight it's Ask Us Anything night. So call in your questions on anything from car accidents, medical malpractice, custody questions, the 31 Law Call number. You can call in and be live on the air, 256-536-0077. Or you can text us to that same number, 256-536-0077. We'll get some of your text questions on. We're here live tonight to answer any kind of questions you may have. You can also email a legal question any day of the week on any legal topic. You send it to lawcall@waytv.com, and when we get to a show that's on point, we pull some out. We've got some of your email questions ready for you tonight. Glad to have you with us tonight. So is Michael Timberlake here from Timberlake League and Brooks with us.
It's great to be here.
Good to be here. Let's start off with our video for tonight. So we like to pull out something. This is some YouTube video while we get our calls locked in. This is something, so watch from the right-hand side of the screen. Apparently this person forgot to set her brake on the car and it gets away from her. Okay, she's okay.
I think you're optimistic. I think she had the door open. She was trying to back up.
You think that's what it is?
I think that's
and
exactly
it got away from
what
her
happened.
that way.
She got away from it.
Okay, so she's obviously hit these cars on the side of the road. When you're looking at this from a personal injury kind of perspective, I mean, she's the driver, so I'd assume that she doesn't really have any. Does she have a claim to make if she's got medical injuries from this and it's her own mistake? What do you see?
Thank goodness she looks like she survived and
Yeah.
it's okay, and it was just property damage. But
Yeah.
you're looking at a situation where, you know, whether it was intentional or unintentional, you know, she didn't exercise reasonable care in the operation of her vehicle, whether it be, you know, moving or stopped. And in that situation, then she's going to be responsible for both the property damage, you know, the damage she does to other people's vehicles, as well as any other injuries that are occurred as a result of that. Now, if she's hurt in a motor vehicle and it's not her fault, then she could potentially collect from somebody else. But in this situation, I don't think that's the case.
Okay. We always invite you to send in your email questions or to text us. You've got the number there. Okay, we got this text question in. On our residential street, there are cars parked on both sides of the street. The cars don't actually block my driveway, but they do impede my car backing out
Yeah.
of my driveway, and it makes it hard for me to back out so that I don't back into another car or something else that's there. What can be done about that? That's tough. I mean, they're not breaking a law, right?
It's one of those things where you know it's life is hard, and it's hard in subdivisions, especially you know older neighborhoods where the streets are maybe more narrow, or there's not enough room for people to park in their driveways or you know in their lot or their property. So you end up with a situation where people are parking on the street. And it's really just kind of one of those give and take situations. You can talk to your city council person about it and try to figure out if there's a way that you know they can designate one side of the street no parking, and they do that in certain situations. It's just a matter of they'll look at the balancing act. It's like do these people need that parking that bad? But typically, if it creates a situation like that, they'll try to do something about it.
So if I'm backing out, and it's like that, my neighbors have made it difficult for me to back out, and I hit somebody.
Yeah.
It's on me?
Yeah, it's on you.
It's on me. Okay.
If they put you in an unreasonable situation, let's say if they, they park a semi in the middle of the road and you can't get out, maybe different.
Okay. Or if I do it to my neighbors, we don't do that.
Yeah.
We've got a good neighborhood.
Your neighbors don't like you, I know that.
Yeah, we all get along. We all get along very well on our street. Let's talk a little bit about medical malpractice cases. So
Sure.
We oftentimes get calls and questions about my doctor or my pharmacy. Could be pharmacy too, right? That can be a malpractice case.
So one of the things about the Medical Liability Act in Alabama that a lot of people don't understand, it is very broad. It encompasses any healthcare provider. So in a lot of situations where you're dealing with, you may be dealing with a pharmacist, you may be dealing with a physical therapist, you may be dealing with somebody that, might, fit somebody with an orthotic, some type of prosthetic, things like that you don't say, well, these aren't doctors, but if it breaches on healthcare, if it is in the healthcare realm, then they may be protected by the Alabama Medical Liability Act.
Okay. So if I'm dealing with a situation where I think my doctor has goofed up, or my mom's doctor has goofed
Sure.
up, and she's hurt,
Right.
can I bring a lawsuit over that? What kind of limitations? Because you guys do personal injury cases, medical malpractice cases. What are you looking for to decide, is this a case that's worthy of filing a lawsuit?
Yeah, I mean, in medical cases, so the one thing everybody needs to know is that there's a heightened burden of proof in medical liability cases. So you have to prove your case, not just more likely than not typically. It's, it's not beyond a reasonable doubt, but it's close. So there is a heightened burden of proof. There are a lot of strict requirements in terms of what you have to prove and how you have to prove it through expert testimony against doctors or healthcare providers. So when you're in that situation, you have to prove that they did something, that reasonable healthcare providers wouldn't do in that same situation. And sometimes we see that. We see that a lot in terms of this didn't go exactly right. This healthcare was clearly not what was supposed to happen, and then somebody ends up with a bad result bad result. Well, just because there is a bad result or a bad outcome, or God forbid somebody passes away, it doesn't mean that the medical providers are automatically responsible. You still have to prove that the care that they provided was substandard and that substandard care caused them to, most of the times we look at death, caused them to die. And with pre-existing condition, comorbidities, a lot of different conditions that people can have, it is very, very difficult sometimes to convince a jury that not that the medical care was bad, because sometimes it's just apparent that the medical care was substandard, but then you have to prove that substandard care caused the death, and that is really, really hard to prove in a lot of situations.
We've got callers waiting. We've got Jim on the line with a question from Rogersville. Hi, Jim. Thanks for calling. What's your question tonight?
There.
Hi. Glad to have you on tonight.
Absolutely. I appreciate you taking my call.
Sure.
Was divorced in Tennessee 4.5 years ago.
Okay.
And we had a divorce decree that stated that we had to divide our property within 30 days of this. Well, we both didn't make that deadline. And so it went on for this many years. We had properties, and the divorce decree said, we divided this and that, but all the property within the homes that were involved,
Like personal
we
property, like
never
furniture and things,
got
right?
to
Yeah.
it.
Okay.
Right.
All right. So since that happened, the properties that that we agreed to in the division, she's doing whatever with that property. Do I have any rights to decide I'm not happy with that, or
So
where
let's,
I'm at?
okay.
Yeah, so I mean, it really kind of, so you're talking about, in any divorce, it's kind of the judge will enter an order basically saying, okay, this is property that you need, that we will direct you to specifically, sell. So it could be real estate, could be, or any kind of, automobiles, things like that. But when it comes to just miscellaneous personal property, that can be a little bit of a different thing. And basically what you're looking at is the judge is basically saying, divide the property and giving you the right to do that.
Yeah.
But if they don't do that, what happens?
Okay, so I do family law, and we always try to be as specific as we can in our settlements or divorce decrees to say every piece of property, if you're talking about furniture and things, personal property inside the home, if we're worried these people are going to come back and argue about it later,
Sure.
we want it to be really listed out, okay? So if it's completely listed out and you're talking about she kept the armoire and she has refused to let you have it and it's listed in the order that it's
And it
coming
was
to
her
you.
grandmother's, and that it has sentimental value,
Okay.
and therefore it's worth more than market
Sentiment-
value.
Okay, so if it was something that came from her side of the family, it
It's
was a
gonna go
gift
to
to
her?
her, it's going to go to her.
Okay.
So even if the order didn't specifically say the armoire is going to her, if it was coming from her side of the family, there's generally a line in there that says everything that was owned prior to the marriage, gifts, things from that side of the family.
Okay.
If it, though, specifically said the armoire is going to Jim and he didn't get it because she refuses to give it to him, he can come back and file something with the court saying she's in contempt. But watch out, because it also might have said he's got to get it within 30 days, and unless she is at fault somehow, then he's given up his right to that thing. Okay, so
Right.
because 4.5 years later, I get it, it happens all the time. So if she's at fault for not letting you have it, or you just need assistance from the court to make it happen, you can file something that's a follow-up. You can't file asking the judge to change that division of property. Divisions, at least in Alabama, I don't practice in Tennessee, but divisions of property become final once the appeal period has passed. So you can't come back later and say, I got a bad deal 4.5 years later. You can't say, I should have gotten this piece of furniture and I didn't.
But you can get in there and say, I didn't get what I was supposed to
yes.
get.
Yeah.
And then, the other situation we look at is, okay, the cost benefit analysis.
Yeah.
Okay, is this worth hiring a lawyer, going back into court, going to move forward? Or, if it's a monetary situation, you can say, look, I think you got this, and I would be entitled to this, and you could maybe broker a deal.
Yeah.
But it's, most personal property situations,
Judges don't like to deal with the
yeah,
pots
and then
the
you're
pans.
you're going to spend more money on a lawyer than you would potentially recover.
Yeah. The armoire may have cost $2,000 when you bought it, but now it's used furniture, and the judge is going to see it as yard sale prices.
Yep.
Okay, we're going to take a break. I know we've got callers on the line. Barbara, stay on the line. We'll be right back to you. It's Ask Us Anything night tonight.
Calls Live. Presented by the Tennessee Valley's award-winning personal injury and wrongful death law firm, Timberlake, League & Brooks. Featuring the knowledge and experience of Attorney Michael Timberlake, Attorney Will League, Attorney Heath Brooks, Attorney William Maservi. And hosted by broadcaster and family law attorney Sharon Doviet. This is WAAY 31 Law Call.
Welcome back to 31 Law Call. It's Ask Us Anything night, so call in your questions. Be live on the air or text us to that same number, 256-536-0077. Michael Timberlake's here from Timberlake, League and Brooks, and they do personal injury cases. So that's everything from car accidents, medical malpractice, slip and fall kind of cases, all of those kind of things.
That's it.
Okay.
But I'm here to answer anything.
Anything tonight.
We'll see how this goes.
We've got Barbara on the line with a question from Decatur. Hi, Barbara. Thanks for calling in. What's your question tonight?
Well, I was climbing up some stairs at my house,
Okay.
and I fell down backwards.
Oh, no.
And when I come down, I told my husband I hit the wall, my front door, and I hit the wall. And I told my husband, I said I can't get up because I can't move my leg. And I had didn't know what had happened. And so my husband took me to the hospital. Decatur General, and
don't give us any specifics with names, or if you're about to tell us
if you
something
don't
detailed,
mind,
okay? Just the place.
Okay.
But keep on going.
Anyway, I was in there. Nurses seen me.
Were you?
There was a.
Did you get
there
the
was a
treatment you
doc-
felt like you needed, or did they
No,
not do? Okay.
no, I did not get the treatment.
Okay.
They just thought I had a severe. When I went to the hospital, they thought I had. They took it. They took X-rays and CAT scans, but as far as my leg went, they thought I had nothing was broken.
Okay.
But they thought I had pulled a muscle.
Okay. Did it turn out to be different from that?
Oh yes, ma'am. Really, really worse.
Okay.
Bad thing they did. They just told me, they said, we're going to send you home. The doctor released me.
Okay.
Gave me some medicine, and I got the medicine that says headache pills.
Okay.
And
What did
I
it
went-
turn out to be? Is something broken? What kind of injuries
Yes.
did you have?
I go to the pain clinic, Dr. Collins, and I went up there and seen Dr. Mora. She says she could help me.
Right.
Don't give us doctor names.
And I guess let me kind of break this down. So you had a traumatic event. You went to the hospital, and then they did some tests to try to diagnose what your problem was. Apparently, they misdiagnosed your problem. So in these situations, we really look at what was the evidence? What did they have before them at the time? And if they've come in and they've done X-rays and they've done CT scans, they're trying to diagnose what's your situation. And sometimes those can be accurate. Sometimes they can't. Sometimes those radiographic studies don't show everything they're supposed to show, or sometimes even a doctor misreads that scan. But in these situations, we're dealing with misdiagnosis. What we've got to show is that your situation was markedly changed as a result of the delay in treatment from the time that you went to the emergency room to the time that you had other treatment. So, if you go in there and you've got a fracture and it's misdiagnosed for, 2 days, you go to another doctor and they're like, yeah, you got a fracture, we're gonna treat it the same way, then that's not anything you can really, benefit from litigation on or legal action. If it's a situation where you go in there and they misdiagnose you and you have a problem and it goes downhill and you end up paralyzed, that's a different situation in terms of what your damages are. But you still have to prove that your damage, your injury is a distinct and definable result of the delay or the misdiagnosis and not the original trauma. And that becomes a problem.
So for her to even suss that out, to come see an attorney
Sure.
and talk through it, what does she need to bring to you? Or does she just come to you and talk to somebody first? What do you do?
Kind of the way we handle these things, and we think it's the best practice, is that, okay, let me, tell me what happened. Then get your medical records from the medical providers.
She gets it or you get it?
She can get it.
Okay.
Most of the hospitals have a portal
Right.
where you can log in. through the internet, and you can get your records electronically. It's a low-cost situation. But if I'm trying to get your records, it's a lot more complicated.
Okay.
So we ask the potential client or the patient to get the records from the hospitals, and then that gives us basically the framework that we can try to figure out. And a lot of times, we can order additional records if we need to, but basically the medical records from the incident is what we need to evaluate the case.
Okay. Let's, right quick, show something. Your firm did something over the past week. Is this the past week?
Oh, this is just something that's kind of fun in the Huntsville area. This is from Bird on the Mountain, which is the view looking out from Montesano Mountain west towards Decatur, and they have an event every Wednesday night. And so we took our firm up there and our staff up there to thank them for everything that they do. We had a wonderful time, but it is really a wonderful it's a wonderful venue, and it's a wonderful thing, and it's a good time. And all these people are the reason that I can do what I do.
Yep.
Are all those people in that picture. That's Dr. Bird's mansion there in the background. So it's a really cool thing.
A lot of folks, a lot of different kinds of jobs in the legal business. So if you're interested, you don't have to be the lawyer. You could be working with the lawyers.
Oh, they're the people that make the machine
make
work.
it happen. We're going to take a break. Be right back answering more. It's Ask Us Anything night. You need to reach Michael Timberlake with Timberlake League and Brooks. Personal injury cases 256-536-0770 or 800-804-2502. The website is law-injury.com. And if you like them on Facebook, you can learn more about the law that way.
And Sharon does family law here in North Alabama, child custody, divorce, and associated things. 256-539-7337, SharonFamilyLaw.com.
I told you we're not done yet. Ashley from Killen, are you still with us? Ashley, thanks for calling. What's your question tonight? Hi.
Yes, I'm calling for my mother. Her and my father had divorced back in like 2008 or 2009, and he has to pay her alimony till the end of time. Well, for the past, I'm going to say 8 to 9 months, he has took upon himself to only send $500.
Okay.
And she was wanting to know what she needs to do about it.
So if
that's a problem, because you can't just decide you're going to not do it. You got to have the court tell you can't do it.
Even if he had reasons, like even if she'd gotten remarried or he thought she'd gotten remarried or something, you have to get permission from the court to stop paying. So you can file something saying that he's in contempt. You can hire a lawyer and have the lawyer file and say he's in contempt, and they can ask for your attorney fees back. And something like this, where they've clearly done something wrong, judges are more likely to award your attorney fees, and that's not always the case. A lot of different types of cases, judges won't award attorney fees.
Right, and the interest is substantial in the situation.
Yeah, 7.5%. So run those numbers and be sure you're getting the interest as well. He could also get jail time. Judges take this very seriously. If he has the ability to make those payments, if you get a hold of bank records where he's spending money on other things, he's buying cigarettes, he's buying alcohol, he's taking trips, but he's not paying what he's court ordered to pay. Judges can sentence a person to 5 days in jail for every single act of contempt. So every one of those payments that's been missed, it's a possible 5 days in jail.
What about a girlfriend?
Oh, if he's got girlfriends and paying expenses for the girlfriend, that will really set the judge off. You're paying somebody else's expenses, but you're not paying what your court ordered to pay. Same thing with child support. If you're not paying your child support, but you're managing to go on vacations, you're managing to go travel, you're having fun, you're going to concerts, get those bank records and prove it. Let's talk a little bit about, somebody had texted in asking a question about hiring an attorney if they live out of state. So if the crime, they're charged with a crime in Alabama, the incident occurred in Alabama, but they live out of state. Do they need an attorney from their home state, or do they need an attorney from Alabama? And how do you get an attorney from another state?
I mean, and typically in a situation where we're dealing with, where do you need to hire an attorney? Who do you need to talk to? Typically, you start with a place where the incident occurred, where the crime, potential crime occurred, where the injury occurred, where the contract was made, those types of situations. If you don't know a lawyer in that area, then you can talk to somebody locally, and they can put you in contact typically with somebody that's in that area that does that kind of work. But you're going to most of the time need somebody that's in that area to handle the claim. Now, sometimes claims can be resolved out of court with a lawyer. Like we work in Tennessee, Georgia, and Alabama. But so we handle a lot of cases in all three of those states. But on occasion, we'll handle a case in Mississippi. Okay. And if we don't need to litigate the case, sometimes we can resolve the case without litigation. But we always consult with an attorney in Mississippi in this situation.
Especially if it's a criminal law situation like this one was, you need somebody that does law there.
Yeah, you need somebody on the ground, boots on the ground, that knows the prosecutors, knows the investigators, knows the judges, knows how the juries in that area are going to respond, because all cases are different based on the jury that you might get.
Thanks for all your calls and questions. We will see you next week. Stay safe.